Digital meteorologist Bobby Corser with you here in the Storm Tracker 2 Weather Center. Let's talk about the snow that we saw this past week. January 6th through 8th was a big snow event in the Cascades and really kind of our first truly big winter impact event up on the hills. We saw lots of snow. The winter storm warning went into effect on Tuesday. It ran through Thursday. We were saying elevations above 5,000 feet could get up to 3, maybe even 4 feet of snow. That verified. Timberline gets 36 inches or 3 feet of brand new snow just around the hill. Mount Hood Meadows 31. Ski Bowl down a little bit lower at Government Camp, 21 inches, which is so great to see. Mount Bachelor in Central Oregon, 18 inches. Sandy Ann Pass between Salem and Bend, and where Hoodoo Ski Resort is, they got about 17 inches of snow. So that is fantastic news for them. When we look at snow coverage right now, the Cascades look beautiful. Even portions of Oregon's Coast Range at the very highest elevations have some snow on the ground. Near Sun Valley, just north of Boise, looks great. The Blues and the Wallowas in central and eastern Oregon look amazing. Even places like Sun River and Black Butte Ranch and Sister saw snow this week, and that's very, very important. But let's talk about what we are looking at weather-wise, why it is important to see this. So this is a snow water equivalent map for the Mount Hood test site, which is just south of the Poochie Lift near Timberline Lodge up at Timberline Lodge. Measurement came in yesterday. As of yesterday, 10.4 inches of melted snow equivalent. So if you take all the snow that has fallen, you melt it down, this year, 10.4 inches. Until January 6th, we were now trending to be the lowest amount of snow that they had recorded up at Timberline Lodge, since data goes back into the 40s when they started taking the snow measurements. We have now surpassed that number, so we're looking okay. It's not great. It's not wonderful. It's also not the worst. So we're kind of in this area where we really do need more snow, and we will talk about that here in a minute. But this time last year, 31.7 inches. So we're basically had a third of what we saw last year. And we know how great the skiing was last year. Resorts opened up early. Everybody was very happy. It was a good year up on Mount Hood in terms of snow. Like we said, the worst year at this date, 6.2 inches. The best, 58.6. I will say this. You take a ruler or a straight line, you go January 1 all the way up, and you see that plateau that slowly rises as we get to about February 1st. I believe that was the La Nina year, and we know that La Nina years are usually really good for snowpack. However, they can experience long dry slots, and this is what we saw that year where we had the record snowfall. You had periods where it was very dry for a long time, where you barely built the base or you just maintained it. That's not good. Of course, average 41%, you're under 50%, but it's still doing okay. So we're at 41% of our average for the average year in terms of melted snow. We're at 17% of the median peak. Averagely, we get 60.3 inches at the Mount Hood test site. That is our average number that we look to hit, because if we hit that, we know things are looking good. This is the map of all the snow test sites where we measure snow and their water equivalent across Oregon and portions of southwest Washington. Dots in the red are less than 50% of average. Dots in the orange are between 50 and 69. Dots in the yellow, 70 to 89. There's a little key right there. You can see that. It doesn't look good right now. And we need more snow to help build that water equivalent, because if we don't have a good snow year, we could have a terrible fire season coming up now this upcoming summer. So we really do need to pay attention to looking at how much snow is falling in the Cascades and how much of that water equivalent exists. One thing I want to talk about, this is a snow forecast now going out through the next 10 days. And this is going to give us kind of a clue of what's happening. As we zoom in here to Oregon, there's no snow coming. That's through January 19th based on a bunch of models. The European model, the GFS, our in-house Barron model. All of them say no snow. The most snow that we're going to get anywhere in the Northwest is up near Mount Baker. Mount Baker. That's it. And then we get a little bit more snow as you get toward the United States-Canada border, and then more snow a little bit as you head off to the east. We need snow, and without it coming, it could be bad. I want to show you this. This is a GFS. This is the American model. This was taken yesterday afternoon in the late morning when I was getting ready to write a couple articles and do some stuff, but I wanted to take a snapshot of this because it showed this. This is what the GFS says is total snow depth that's on the ground right now. And it's anywhere from about 53 inches just north of the Oregon-Washington border, just around Mount St. Helens. And then you get down into the 30s and 40s as you get through the Cascades. So this is yesterday, Friday. This next map is going to show us what we look at 1 week from now. It's basically saying all the snow that fell this last week will have melted off. Now, this is what the GFS says. The Euro is a little bit more bullish in terms of keeping that snowpack around. But we're going to see temperatures up on Mount Hood next week approaching the mid to upper 40s. It might even touch the lower 50s, depending on how the forecast shakes out. Reason why? You're going to love this term, and I know how much everybody loves this. We're going to be in the south and the warm sector of an atmospheric river that's going to take aim for western Washington and then move up the coast into British Columbia. Unfortunately, we stay kind of high and dry, but warm air will be in here. Area of high pressure will kind of dominate the forecast, and we'll show you that in a minute. But this time of year, we're constantly looking for sources of cold air. And if we're in the warm sector or the south side of an atmospheric river, the cold air is not coming. Take you through the next week or so. This is the, again, American model. You're going to look for those purples and those pinks, light blues. That indicates cold air. Put this map into motion and go through Friday and Saturday. That cold air is building up around Hudson Bay, and it barely peaks down into the Gulf, or not the Gulf, but the Great Lakes region. Temperatures in the Gulf are now sitting anywhere from the mid-40s into the lower 60s. We saw, of course, severe weather this past week in Oklahoma and then down in Mississippi. We saw our first handful of tornadoes, some EF1s. I think there was an EF2 in Oklahoma as well. So we're seeing the temperature contrast with really warm air coming up through the Gulf, really cold air in the Arctic trying to make its way into the United States. And as we go forward, even then, Friday into Saturday, again, a week from now, there's not a lot of cold air that makes its way west of the Rockies. Most of that cold air is going east of the Rockies. So, again, we're going to be in this warmer regime. Temperatures will finally get back to more seasonal average as we approach next weekend. But we're not even close to seeing any type of cold air come into the Pacific Northwest. This is a look at your 7 day as we finish this map here. Again, into Monday, no cold air. Here's your 7 day forecast through today. Mostly cloudy today, maybe a slight sprinkle in the morning, but mostly dry. Mostly cloudy Sunday. Slight chance of rain on Monday, and then we really dry it out and we really warm it up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Temperatures approaching 60 degrees on Tuesday. Guys, it's January. You know, it's January 15th by the time we get around to Thursday and Friday of next week. Again, we should be talking about temperatures, normally just below 50 for your highs and your lows just above freezing. We're not even close to that. So this dance of having to figure out if we're going to get cold air in here, if we're going to get snow, push back again another 10, 12, 15 days. Some weather models want to go cold after that period, but unfortunately this time of year we kind of see that over and over and over again. Will we actually get snow in here? We still have some time. Generally the rule of thumb, at least in my view, is your best shot of winter is basically December 15th through February 15th. Well, we're happen to be right in the middle of that kind of 2-month window. So we will see what happens. Unfortunately, if you do love snow and you love skiing, I would get up and do it now or tomorrow, maybe even Monday. But once those temperatures warm up, that snow will melt off relatively quickly. Thankfully, we did build a little bit of a base, but I don't expect to see Ski Bowl open. Timberline meadows shouldn't have any trouble staying open, especially on some of their higher runs. But I don't think full openings and full operation look likely in the next 5, 6, 7 days up on Mount Hood. We really need snow. We really need cold air to get in here. And unfortunately, we just don't see it. Thanks for watching this video. Of course, we got Sarah Bagby in tonight with your latest forecast. Avery Elliott tomorrow morning. Sarah back tomorrow night. And then Rhonda back on Monday. Tracking all this incoming warm air. Unseasonably warm. It's just that time of year where we're just waiting and watching to see if we do get cold and maybe a shot of snow.